Welcome to Richwood Writing Training Course, Speaking and Writing, developed in October 2025 by Shirley Chen. Based on Lesson 7.1 to 7.5, try rewriting this sentence in your own words. You may pause and write and keep your first rewriting version. If this is too difficult, then follow the steps one by one and try rewriting at the end of the course. Rusticus first made me want to live in the right way. He also made me want to be better. This is a rewritten sentence from Lesson 7.1. Now, rewrite using Marcus's style. 3 requirements. 1. Put an emphasis on Rusticus. Number 2. Combine the 2 sentences. Number 3. Replace certain phrases. Now, how do we do that? First, to put an emphasis on Rusticus, we can use the sentence pattern. It was Rusticus, the emphasis, and then follow with the that clause. So, it was Rusticus that first made me. Now, the second rewriting requirement, combining the 2 sentences. We can use and to combine the 2 sentences and delete the repetitive part. He also made me want to. Replace want to desire to. Replace in the right way to rightly. Replace be better to come to a better state. You may pause and rewrite and check whether you get it right. Now, this is what we get after doing as required. It was Rusticus that first made me desire to live rightly and come to a better state. Okay, next exercise. Fill in the blanket with a pronoun. So, from previous learning, we know that the pronoun should be who. You can also use that. They function the same. Now here we have 2 sentences. Combine these 2 sentences by deleting the repetitive part. Some parts they appear more than once and they're repetitive. They're the same, so delete the same part. We can find out that it was Rusticus that, it was also Rusticus. These 2 parts, they're repetitive. So we want to delete one of it. Now you get the result. It was Rusticus that first made me desire to live rightly and come to a better state, who prevented me from running into the vanity of the sophists. Now, there are 2 ways to fall into the vanity of the sophists. Describe the 2 ways. We can find it in the text by doing something or by doing something. So the first way is by writing speculative treatises. Another way is by making a fantastical appearance or display of generosity or discipline. So 2 ways. You can also describe the 2 ways in your own words. In my own words, the 2 ways to fall into the vanity of the sophists are: 1. Writing on moral issues based on guessing. Number 2. Showing off as overly generous or overly disciplined. In Marcus's style, describe the 2 ways to fall into the vanity of the sophists again. So 1 is by writing speculative treatises, haranguing upon moral subjects. Another is by making a fantastical appearance or display of generosity or discipline. Again, you may pause and write until you finish, and then continue the lesson. Fill in correlative conjunctions. Either or. Either or. Fill in the blanks. You may pause and read by yourself, or you may read ahead of me. So, it was Rusticus that first made me desire to live rightly and come to a better state, who prevented me from running into the vanity of the sophists, either by writing speculative treatises, haranguing upon moral subjects, or making a fantastical appearance or display of generosity or discipline. Now check your answers. Upon means on. Who and that are replaceable. Now fill in the blanks again. You may pause and read by yourself, or you may read ahead of me. It was Rusticus that first made me desire to live rightly and come to a better state, who prevented me from running into the vanity of the sophists, either by writing speculative treatises, haranguing upon moral subjects, or making a fantastical appearance or display of generosity or discipline. Now check your answers. Next, use different verbs to replace the existing verbs. You might pause and write. Use as much time as you need. If you're done, then move on to check. Desire. I replace them by these words: aspire, strive for, falling, composing, lecturing, fabricating. These are only for references. You may come up with better ideas, better words. Now replace these nouns. You may pause and write. After you have finished, you may turn to the next page for reference. A better self, a better level. Vanity means pride, or emptiness. Sophists are people who look clever, but they usually are cunning. Speculative treatises can be replaced as formal writings based on guessing. Moral subjects means topics about right or wrong, discussions about right or wrong. A fantastical appearance or display can be replaced by drastic show. Generosity or discipline means being generous and having self-control or having control over others. Now try again by writing in your own words. You may pause and write until you finish. I also give you a sample writing for further exercise. Here's a further sample writing. You may read it a few times. You may read after me once. Rusticus was the first teacher that made me desire to live in the right way and become a better person. He also prevented me from running into the pride and emptiness of the sophists who claim to be clever. There are two ways one can run into such vanity. One way is by writing on and on, discussing moral subjects based on guessing. Another way is by showing off as overly generous and disciplined. For why should one show off but for the satisfaction of attention and praise from other people? Now, based on the sample writing or your own writing, recreate in Marcus's style. Compare the two styles and decide which you prefer. That will be the end of the summary course. You shall continue with 7.7. See you.